Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm your host Kyle Wood. Today we'll be learning all about the amazing axolotl, but before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Consider this. Many of us have seen pictures of adorable smiling axolotls, and they often have a distinct pink or white color. So here's the question. Are these pale pinkish axolotls the primary natural color of the species in the wild? Take a moment to think about it, and I'll reveal the truth at the end of this episode. Now for our word of the day. Today's word of the day is neoteny. Neoteny is a biological phenomenon where an animal reaches maturity while still retaining its juvenile or larval physical characteristics. Axolotls are a prime example of neoteny. Unlike most other salamanders that undergo metamorphosis, losing their gills and moving to land, axolotls typically keep their feathery external gills, aquatic lifestyle, and other larval features throughout their adult lives. This Peter Pan-like trait is a key part of what makes them so unique in the animal kingdom. The name axolotl itself has a fascinating origin. It comes from the Nahuatl language of the Aztecs, where atl means water and sotl can be interpreted as a god, specifically the god of fire, lightning, and misfortune, who was said to have disguised himself as an axolotl. So the very name is tied to water and ancient mythology. Now for today's high five, our top 5 fun facts about axolotls. Number 1, axolotls are regeneration rock stars capable of regrowing lost body parts with incredible precision. This isn't just about regrowing a tail or a leg. Axolotls can regenerate complex structures, including parts of their spinal cord, eyes, and even sections of their hearts and brains, often without any scarring. This remarkable ability makes them a subject of intense scientific research, as understanding their regenerative mechanisms could unlock new potential in human medicine, particularly for treating injuries and diseases that involve tissue damage. Scientists have been fascinated by how these creatures can not only replace missing parts, but do so perfectly, restoring full function. The cells at the site of injury are able to de-differentiate, then re-differentiate into the correct cell types needed to rebuild the lost structure. This process can be repeated throughout their lives, making them true champions of natural healing and regeneration. Number 2, these unique salamanders are native to only one specific and now very limited place on Earth. Wild axolotls are exclusively found in the ancient lake complex of Xochimilco and historically Lake Chalco near Mexico City. Unfortunately, due to extensive urban development, water diversion, and pollution, Lake Chalco no longer exists, and the canal system of Xochimilco is a fraction of its former size. This dramatic loss of habitat has had a devastating impact on the wild axolotl populations. The canals of Xochimilco, with their historic chinapas, or floating gardens, represent the last vestiges of a vast wetland system. Today, these remaining waterways are under severe threat from pollution, the introduction of invasive predatory fish like carp and tilapia, and the ever-growing demands of Mexico City. This has led to the axolotl being classified as critically endangered in the wild. Number 3, axolotls have a surprisingly versatile respiratory system. They're able to breathe in multiple ways. These amphibians are equipped with their iconic feathery external gills, which they use to extract oxygen from the water. You can also see them gently waving these gills. However, they also possess functional lungs and can gulp air from the surface if the water quality is poor or oxygen levels are low. If their aquatic environment becomes particularly shallow for extended periods, their gills may even be absorbed as they rely more on their lungs. Axolotls can also absorb some oxygen directly through their skin, a process known as cutaneous respiration, common in many amphibians. This triple threat breathing apparatus gives them adaptability in various aquatic conditions, though they remain fully aquatic for their entire lives under normal circumstances in the wild and in captivity. Number 4, the axolotl genome is a giant among vertebrates packed with an enormous amount of genetic information. The axolotl's genome is remarkably large, containing approximately 32 billion DNA base pairs. To put that into perspective, the human genome has about 3.2 billion pairs, meaning the axolotl genome is roughly 10 times larger. This makes it one of the largest animal genomes ever sequenced. This vast amount of genetic material represents both a challenge and an incredible opportunity for scientists. Researchers are diligently working to understand this complex genome as it holds the secrets to the axolotl's amazing regenerative abilities and neoteny. Identifying the specific genes and regulatory pathways involved in these processes could lead to breakthroughs in regenerative medicine and our understanding of development. Now, for our fifth and final fun fact, axolotls may have a very small natural habitat, but they are all over pop culture from Minecraft to movies and even money. In 2021, Minecraft introduced axolotls in the Caves and Cliffs update, partly to raise awareness about this real-life endangered species. Mojang, the developers of Minecraft, have a history of adding endangered animals to their game, like polar bears, pandas, and sea turtles, to help educate players about them. The axolotl, which is critically endangered and native to only a few specific locations in Mexico, was a perfect candidate. By bringing them into the game, Mojang hoped to shed some light on these unique creatures and their real-world plight, encouraging a new generation to learn about and care for them. Players can find, capture, and breed axolotls in the game, and their cute in-game appearance mirrors their real-life charm. Audiences are finding axolotls in more than just Minecraft, though. If you're a fan of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, you might be surprised to learn that the adorable and iconic dragon Toothless was partly modeled after the axolotl. The creators drew inspiration from the axolotl's wide, smiling face and its external feathery gills when designing Toothless's features and expressions. The popular Pokémon character Wooper and its evolution Quagsire are directly based on axolotls. Wooper's design clearly shows the external gills and finned tail characteristic of an axolotl, introducing these salamanders to yet another massive global fan base. They're a national symbol and can even be found on money. In their native Mexico, axolotls are a significant cultural icon. They've been featured in murals by famous artists like Diego Rivera and even became the star of Mexico City's 50 peso banknote, which was so beautifully designed it won the International Banknote Society's Banknote of the Year award in 2021. Now for some news you can use. Given the axolotl's critically endangered status in the wild, the most practical tip I can share is about awareness and conservation. While many axolotls live in captivity as pets or in research labs, their wild counterparts are fighting for survival. Learning about their plight and the threats to their natural habitat, pollution, habitat loss, and invasive species is the first step. Supporting organizations that are actively working on the ground in Mexico to restore and protect the ecosystem can make a real difference. This includes efforts to create axolotl sanctuaries, filter water, and work with local communities. Even just sharing their story and raising awareness among your friends and family helps keep these incredible creatures in the public consciousness, which can foster broader support for conservation initiatives. Remember, the survival of a species often depends on human understanding and action. All right, it's time to revisit the question from the beginning of the episode. I asked if the pale, pinkish axolotls we often see are the primary natural color of the species in the wild. Well, that is actually false. While pink and white axolotls are common in the pet trade and research labs, they are not the typical color of axolotls in their natural habitat. Wild axolotls are generally a dark mottled color, often brown, black, or dark green with speckles. This darker coloration provides them with camouflage against the muddy bottoms of lakes and canals, helping them avoid predators and ambush their own prey. The popular pink and white varieties are the result of selective breeding in captivity. These color morphs are due to genetic mutations that affect skin pigmentation. While beautiful and captivating, they would actually be at a disadvantage in the wild as they would be much more visible to predators. So, the smiling pink axolotl is a product of human fascination and care, but their wild ancestors sport a much more camouflaged look. I hope you enjoyed learning about axolotls with me, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.